Sproto Gremlins is our companion NFT collection. So Sproto finds its roots in the 2021 BSC project of ticker Bitcoin, which I wasn't involved in. It's not a continuation. The ETH Bitcoin or the ETH Bitcoin project is not a continuation of that one. But of course, so much of the core material was developed there.
Hello. Today we're going to be talking about everything Bitcoin, but not the ETF approved Bitcoin, but $sign Bitcoin, also known as Harry Potter or Panasonic Tenino. These fellas are one of the pioneers in building Memecoin cultures, and since they are built up from the same cloth as Berachain, they will launch their own L2 on Bera. Oh god, you will say, another L2. Yes, but this one will be built differently. This is BlockHunters Voices, the podcast with cool kids from the blockchain space. I am Joachim Vuju, your host, joined by our regularly Berachain co-host, Kos. Welcome, fellas. Redkev, Graham, Kos.
Bien.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Ooga booga.
Ooga booga.
Ooga booga.
Let's start with the origin story. Who were Graham and Redkev before crypto, and how did you all end up in this crazy space?
Oh, that's always a good place to start, right? I think that for me, I can trace it all the way back to when I was still a kid. I played a trading card game called Magic the Gathering. It's pretty popular. I think a lot of crypto people have played it or at least heard of it. The way you can see its origins in Magic would be through Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was MTGOX originally. It was actually a Magic the Gathering trading platform, and they had to reorg it into something, and they went the BTC route because so many Magic players were playing BTC. So as a kid, I was just having these grown men in real, 2010 or whatever, just shilling me BTC. I was a young teen, kind of right age to be able to start to understand things, and maybe even have a young enough mind to not question them, you could say. And so I ended up getting into the space in my late teens, off to college, and continued to just enjoy it, grow more and more. I ended up going and working in market making. I was at the largest OTC desk in crypto, and I was doing that when Harry Potter Obama Sonic Teninu was brought into the world via the egregore, and my view of my life was forever changed, and I'm happy to say that I've been able to help the egregore flourish ever since. So that's kind of Graham before crypto, so to speak.
And how about you, Redkev?
Yeah, so I unfortunately did not get into crypto as early as Graham. I had heard about crypto when I was in college, and at the time it was too complicated. There was too many steps. It was very hard to get into, so I kind of put it on the back burner and was like, yeah, I'll check it out. And then, of course, I waited, but I was primarily, just in sales and marketing field. Did some just TradFi investing, stocks, things like that. And then, one day, you see crypto pumping. You see, I think it was Bored Apes for me. You see Bored Apes starting to go for six figures in NFT, and I was like, all right, I got to get in on this. So I kind of came in the NFT route. So more JPEGs, more NFTs. But yeah, it's funny. Graham mentions Magic the Gathering. I think a lot of my interest into NFTs and crypto came from the early days Pokemon card trading, growing up and that sort of thing. So yeah, so pretty much wish I had gotten in earlier, but hey, we're here today.
Exactly, that's the only thing that matters. So basically, NFTs are the digital Magic the Gathering, right?
I think that Red makes a really good point with the trading cards and whatnot. In that scarcity is kind of what gets people into this stuff, right? They do something where they understand the value of something might be higher because it's rare. It can even come from, I've seen people get really into streetwear and fashion and then translate that into a love of crypto. So anytime that you can kind of get into the assets game, whatever that asset may be, you'll find your way to digital assets eventually.
Yeah, basically like Supreme, right? I mean, they are...
Yeah, Yeah. Oh, I can't even tell you how much Supreme. I'm a huge Supreme guys. Pretty much. Oh yeah. No, I'm the crypto kid everyone fears. I show up to the events. Just yeah, I'm wearing freaking. I mean, it's so bad. You should have seen me when I was 21, 22 years old. I would wear Yeezys everywhere. I think I once wore. Oh god, this is like cringe to say, but I remember wearing. I even had a term for them. I called it mix matching, and I would wear two different styles of Yeezys. It just looked so bad. It was like left foot a black Yeezy, right foot a white Yeezy. I mean, exactly. Just giving our industry the worst possible image. Yeah, I was unfortunately a part of that. I like to think I've matured in my fashion taste.
We are who you are, brother. You don't have to be ashamed.
Yeah, no, I mean it's all in good fun. Now I get to feel old because I go to crypto conferences and I see people, who are 21, 22, and they're doing what I guess, I used to do back then. They have their bussin' haircuts and everything, and puts a little smile on my face.
Yeah, man, when I look at me, when I was 21, I say, oh my God, I'm 42 right now. I was 21.
Dude, you're looking great, man. You're looking great.
Oh, thanks, brother.
So yeah, we have a pretty good cool episode right here with everyone coming in from different backgrounds, right? Graham, you had the trading cards, Red Cave during the apes phase. I personally went all in crypto during the Binance Smart Chain Mania phase. If you remember, around I think mid 2021, I basically quit my normie 9 to 5 job and become chronically online, gambling on meme coins, on shit coins. I remember like PooCoin was the go-to platform at that time. Does that bring any memories for you guys?
I was never a strong. I can say that my kind of degenerate platform history would be VeerWalks. I was a huge user of that VeerWalks terminal in Second Life, and when you had to use like Linden dollars to cross the spread because BTC to USD wasn't even a thing. That's more mine. But I do recall hearing some funny stories from back in the day.
Were you active in any project before Bitcoin, maybe as an internet protocol or building your own stuff or trying to CTO another project? I remember you said you were on the marketing side or the market making side.
Yeah, so Ticker Bitcoin was the first project that I ever was, a part of from a founding and leading type or team perspective, I guess you could say, because really it's a community effort than anything else. Beforehand, I had worked in market making and I'd been, you could say, not a part of projects, but because of the nature of market making, a part of helping them flourish, so to speak, right? The CEX listing element, providing liquidity, getting to understand what, where the market is facing and what they want in terms of just sort of the two-way flow that an MM starts. I think that for me, though, my involvement was always the same as most people. It's a long time of kind of being in the sidelines before you're in the arena. I definitely held so many projects before I actually went to go get involved in one. And what motivated me to get involved with Ticker Bitcoin was the website. I remember seeing www.hpostenai.com and I thought to myself, this is just the greatest piece of internet that's ever existed. And I kind of knew where we were in the cycle, and I knew that this thing was, I could be a part of maybe helping make this even better than it was. And I had, for some context, I had just had a bit of you could say a professional setback in that we were going to get Pepe listed on all like the major North American exchanges. And when I say we, I mean the TradFi market making world, not me or some kind of cabal or degens, very above board type stuff. And with the SEC lawsuit that occurred in June, those CEXs turned around and reversed their decisions on that. And luckily now we're seeing a year later that listing happen. But at the time, it made me kind of realize how much more we had to go in terms of getting meme coins adopted. I had seen a lot of the more Wall Street people react to Pepe by saying, oh, this is a racist token. We can't be associated with something racist. And that I mean, if they think Pepe is racist, it goes to show how out of touch they are, right? So I figured, well, I could be trying to continue on the inside and change things here, but really, if I'm a part of something positive, that's going to probably change perception better. And Ticker Bitcoin's just that, whether it's the building wells in Africa or the general positive sentiment that you'll find in the chat. I think that we serve as a good example for what ought to be within meme coins.
But if I'm not mistaken, Pepe is like a peace sign in Hong Kong, right? Or something like that.
Pepe, yeah, I mean Pepe. The reason why it has that connotation is because of I mean, if you go on 4chan, obviously there's going to be a ton of Pepe memes where he's saying something racist, right? And you look to the 2017 Charlottesville protests that were really famous here in the United States. Pepe was involved in that. I think the ADL put him up as some kind, or actually, I think the ADL even clarified he wasn't a hate figure. Just it was one of those things where people kind of take loose strands of things and they run with them. And so when I was talking to these stuffy suit types, the Wall Street folks, that was one of the first things they said. And it really struck me because I thought, well, if they don't know this, I mean, how are they supposed to understand deep meme lore, right? Something like Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Teninu, or something, even as simple as a whiff, right? Dog with hat, which really anyone should understand. I think that was a stark moment for me. So I'm really glad to see where the industry has gone. I don't think that it's just because of my efforts. I think it's because of the efforts of many really great people, including yourselves and Red Kev and many of the folks listening to this podcast.
For anyone living under a rock or sleeping on the meme supercycle, can you tell us what's the lore behind Harry Potter Urbana's Sonic 10 Inu? Starting from the name, did you just come just mashing the words together, or does it have like a deeper meaning?
It's actually a name that wasn't invented by anyone associated to the project. So there was a backpack that was sold in a flea market, and the backpack was one of those bootleg things. And you can find an image of this. Maybe we can include it in the show description or something. And it had
that would be awesome.
Yeah, across the top of it, horizontally, it had written Harry Potter, and then going down vertically, it said Obama, and then it had a picture of Sonic on it, and Sonic had a 10 on his stomach, and then down below Sonic's feet was a rose, and that rose was edited, or a rose or a tulip, some kind of flower, and that was edited and changed to a BTC symbol, and then that was put on 4chan, and it became a huge meme. So you can get Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, and then the Inu was added because of the dog phrase. And then ticker Bitcoin, right, being the Bitcoin there. So that's the origin of the name. Red, do you remember, I think someone once said that it was a flea market like in the Netherlands because of the tulip, or do you remember that, or do you remember where the flea market was? I'm trying to recall.
Yeah, there's the speculation is Netherlands because of the tulips, and tulips in the Netherlands are big concepts together. So I think it's funny. We kind of connected these dots kind of lately because it was the oldest forum post. I had to do some digging. Was like 2010. They showed the backpack.
What?
So
what the hell? Wow.
If you think about it, it was right around the time that BTC was actually created, right? So it was some of the most popular concepts around, or at least what Dutch people thought American tourists might like. I think that's my what I think kind of happened. But yeah, it was like 2010, I think, is where the backpack came from. And it might even be older, but that was when people.
Yeah, because wasn't there was like some search from like 2004, like someone Googled Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Teninu in 2004. How?
The time traveler.
The time traveler. I guess that's what it was. But I've always wanted that backpack to have a tulip on it, because Tulip Mania was the original crypto, just with no unfortunate secondary boom. But I think that would be pretty cool if there was a Tulip Mania reference. So yeah, that's the history of the backpack, and then the project name, and a little fun extra background to that too is that the ticker of Bitcoin is a slight play on us being the people's Bitcoin, because Craig Wright had the people's Satoshi vision Bitcoin. So we're the true vision that Satoshi had. That's what we like to say.
Do you think whenever in the future, if it's possible to have Bitcoin listed on a major T1 platform exchange like Binance, it will be a problem because of the name, because of the Bitcoin itself?
No, I don't foresee that being an issue, because the larger CEXs we're on, such as Bybit, they list us as HPOS 10i. I don't know, we're on some pretty large ones as Bitcoin too. I mean, BitGet, Ourbit, they both list us as Bitcoin. I think that as time goes by, you might even see the CEXs change the ticker to BITCOIN Bitcoin, because really, how many how many actual people are going to have that problem. I think we'll just see it play out as the cycle goes on. But for now, we don't mind that the larger CEXs have us as HPOS 10i, because so long as it's benefiting the token and the community, that's a good thing.
Well, and one point on that too is, since we are the original Schizo coin, we have many tickers. We have Schizo tickers. We're HPOS 10i. Was it Bybit? Obviously, ticker Bitcoin on some. And then MEXC listed us as ticker Harry very early on. We were not very happy about that one.
Exactly. I saw that.
That's the worst of the bunch. That's easily the worst.
So we have 3 tickers. So it's, the Schizo coin has the Schizo tickers, has the Schizo chart. I mean, it's all very fitting in my eyes. But yeah, no, it's definitely, to Graham's point, I don't see how someone can confuse BTC with the obvious BTC logo, and then you see ticker Bitcoin and it has a Sonic and Harry Potter and Obama logo. It just, I don't think people are going to confuse those two. It would be funny if they did, but I don't really see people confusing them if we are ticker Bitcoin on some platforms.
Gotcha. So I want to touch a bit on the Memecoin Supercycle. So we have obviously a lot of talk about Memecoin culture lately, and your price action's been wild. Like, we had multiple pumps and 70% dumps before breaking all-time highs a few weeks ago. What would you say are like the 10 key aspects a community needs to survive those brutal breakdowns and actually win? Everyone's calling themselves a cult these days. What makes the real one stand out?
I think that anyone that calls themselves a cult is not a cult. That's probably
Exactly.
the first thing that I would put out there. It has to be other people saying it about you. And also, really, anyone calling themselves a cult probably hasn't studied cults the way that we have. You would be shocked. I know so many people that run these, quote, cult, unquote, like projects, and they actually have experience in freaking cults. Like, one of the most popular guys, who is a huge numerology dude, he literally was like running a numerology cult like 6-7 years ago, and now he's super successful in crypto and whatnot. You look to the principles of stuff like writings of Aleister Crowley, for example. There's a lot of people that study this stuff intensely. I think that there's even sort of a formula for it, where you have a meme, an idea, a philosophy, a concept, and you make that thing beautiful, and then you give other people the ability to create things with that beauty. And you can see that in a few of the quote cult, unquote, projects in crypto. You can see it with us, Sprotos, for example. There's an incredible amount of community-made art and items and different memes that are all based on the Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10 Inu IP and the Sproto Gremlins and what they look like. And that's an example of us creating something beautiful in the Sprotos, in the HPOS aesthetic, and then other people innovating and making new things with it. Another example I would give would be Remilia. That's another often called cult within crypto. They created Miladies, right? Something that was beautiful. And then they gave people the ability to run and create with it. And you see the subsequent derivative collections as an example of that. So I can't really say 10 things that someone needs to survive volatile price action, but what I can say is how to create an actual quote cult, unquote. And it's not through marketing and KOLs and saying how dedicated you all are. It's through creating something, making it beautiful, and then giving other people a chance to create with that beauty.
You've mentioned earlier something about Sprotos. Can you tell us a bit more about the lore and how exactly could you get in touch in the beginning with the Sprotos?
Yeah, so Sproto Gremlins is our companion NFT collection. I don't mean to put down any other NFT collections, but I do kind of see it as one of the, there's this cycle of the new collections that came out. There's Milady, there's Sproto, There's been some others that have certainly made impact, Eons and Retardio, but I do think that we're up there as the most impactful of the cycle. And a large part of that is how Sprotos were created. So Sproto finds its roots in the 2021 BSC project of Ticker Bitcoin, which I wasn't involved in. It's not a continuation. The ETH Bitcoin or the ETH Bitcoin project is not a continuation of that one. But of course, so much of the core material was developed there, including the Sprotos, which came from a mistake of the word spirit, which I don't really know how you spell spirit as Sproto, but I don't know, it happens somehow, right? And so there are these, incredibly egregoric creatures. If you look at them, they're just so pleasing to the eye. I think that is one of the best profile pictures in crypto. I'm sure that we'll overlay our Sprotos on this, and you'll get to see them. But their floor price is probably, I think, like 2.5 ETH or so. It's always top 10 in terms of volume. If you don't own one, it's no big deal. Just right click and save it. Use it as your profile picture. We've been big on that from the beginning. And to finish off the origin story of them, it wasn't one of those things where we said, okay, everybody come pay to mint your Sproto. In fact, Ticker Bitcoin had retraced so hard to Kos's earlier point. It had gone from around 10 million or so down to sub 1 million, 600K, I think it was, that the community needed something to be thanked for having held this token through such a retrace. So everybody was given that held Ticker Bitcoin as of a snapshot in May of 2023, you could mint to 10 free Sprotos. And so I guess if you do the math, anybody that minted that was a free like 21 ETH mint or so. I don't know. They've gotten as high as 4 ETH, so I guess technically, like, you could say 40 ETH or so. Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, that's the origin story behind them. Red is one of the most massive reasons that they're here today. So I think that he's definitely someone who can give some good insight into why Sprotos are as good as they are.
What was the mint price for the Sprotos at that time?
Zero for public. It was 0.02.
Damn.
But
yeah,
but we did mint on Scatter, so there was referral links. So most people minted on public 0.017. So
damn, that's crazy, and it probably was pretty low at that time as well.
Was it in 2021 or 2022?
This is 2023. This was June. So beginning of June. Beginning of June 2023. So I mean, it was obviously like one of the worst parts of the bear market for NFTs specifically.
For everything.
Fair enough. For everything, pretty much. So,
especially for NFTs.
NFTs. I think they're still making a comeback at this point. But yeah, no, Graham laid it out. I mean, that's the origin. I still think the spirit to Sproto is my favorite story of this whole project. I just think it's very funny that it lasted like 2 or 3 years, and we called them Sproto Gremlins. But yeah, there is no second best. I mean, they're all one of ones, and I just don't think you really see that much in NFT world. And then to actually have them as PFPs, but it's about the community. It's about who embraced them. It's about who's rocking them, who bought them, who's holding them. I think that's really the most important part, is who's involved in the project, and that comes down to the community. No team. It's just like, who's actually involved, who's going to be, like Graham said earlier, like who's going to be just making art with their Sprotos, with their NFTs. So yeah, no, it's been awesome. I mean, going from, most of us got them for free, but even going from 0.02 to 2 ETH these days, that's impressive.
That's something.
Yeah, so it's been nice to just be along for the journey.
Yeah,
so basically,
so just the lore itself basically explains why the floor price is right now so high, right? Because no one believed in it. It were just the OGs in there that stayed with the project, that were logging every day in the Telegram chat, making memes, like you said, posting on Twitter, and because of that, they didn't care for a quick 2x, 5x, even 10x. They believe they have something special because they've been there, they've talked every day, and they form probably real friendship, real connections that will probably last.
Oh yeah, and I'm convinced, honestly, because a lot of when we were minting these, a lot of people had never really minted NFTs. They were all just meme coins, just crypto, never really dabbled in JPEGs, or at least a lot of people that I talked to. So, there was some kind of had to help some people through minting and what the process looked like and things like that. So I'm convinced a lot of early Sprotos that got Sprotos probably don't even know how to sell, which is great. But I don't see them, I think it's kind of a relic for a lot of people. It's just like, hey, I was there, almost like a POAP. I was there for that. I minted these. They're special. And I think they're going to go crazy high. Like I don't see a future where Sprotos don't just go to those Bored Ape levels from 2021. And that's, not financial advice. Please don't use that as financial advice. But I think they're special. And I think once you just scroll through the Magic Eden or OpenSea or whatever marketplace, just scroll through them and just see how different they are, how, you'll find one that really vibes with you. One you see and you're just like, wow, that's incredible. And I think a lot of people have that experience, and it's just not something you get in every collection.
I wanted to see if I have my history lesson in check. So basically, Ticker Bitcoin started as a project on BSC, so Binance Smart Chain, and then it moved to Ethereum. And after that, the Sproto Gremlins Genesis was in 2023. And right now, you guys also did a Solana pool, right? So you actually can buy on Solana too, not only on Ethereum.
Yeah, no, that's correct. I guess I would say that the BSC project is a separate project from the ETH one. It wasn't so much a continuation as you could say a rebirth, like a phoenix maybe. But yes, I think that May 10th, 2023, that's the TGE for ticker Bitcoin. May 31st is, I guess, technically the first Sproto, at least this is what it says on OpenSea. Red would know better, but like you said, early June is when everyone was minting the Sprotos. And then the wormhole was opened last week, so there's also the Solana presence via that. And you can go find us on Moonshot if that's your preferred Solana meme coin trading platform.
Also available on Base, just to throw it out there. We're on Base as well.
Oh, nice. And I really want to know what have been some of the most iconic events up until today, because personally, I want to know the idea around smoking crack live.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, you answered it in many ways with that. I think that obviously, yeah, Kiwi smoking crack, that was one of the bigger. And one of the best parts of that was I got a message from a friend in trading who told me he said, I know a desk that just opened up a $1 million TWAP on you because of the smoking crack video. And that was a total light bulb going off over my head, because that's kind of when we realized that it's all about, it's an attention economy, and what is your share of that attention economy? And you can get a pretty big share of it when you're pretty schizo. So that's certainly one of the more major events. I would also add in the trial of Bitcoin Obama. I think that was probably that might be the most key event in terms of bringing the community together. And Red is, we have our attorney right here. So Red, do you want to comment a bit on that trial and how that kind of brought everybody together a bit?
But who actually smoked crack live? It was with his face. Who was on camera?
So that was a guy he's not on the team. He basically was a hired actor, I guess you could say. So he's involved in the meme coin world, and he does different shows and things for people, and we've got him to paint himself as a Sproto and smoke
like
some
jackass stuff.
Exactly, yeah. He's a good jackass is a good way to put it. He's our what's his name? Bam, yeah.
Well, we also had Bong Raker. He's a team member. He was smoking crack early in the Telegram, and it's funny you bring that up, because I think I see the screenshots all the time, and yeah, he's wearing a ski mask, and it's so funny because there really wasn't a lot of people in the voice chat in Telegram when that actually went live, and then now I don't know, maybe there was 50, 100 people tops at the time. And now people circulate it all over Twitter, and thousands of people have seen those. And then obviously, I know the videos Graham's referring to smoking crack and checking the dials. I think those were big. The trial was very big. That was fun. I think one thing Ticker Bitcoin has always done really well is getting the community together. Obviously, I think we can say we started in the bear market. So it's like, how do we keep people entertained? How do we keep people around, engaged? Having a silly trial for someone on Telegram. There's been so many things. It's so hard to kind of pinpoint.
Some background on the trial would be that Bitcoin Obama, Schiller, he's a huge member of our, well, actually, he's kind of tapered off, but he's a huge member of the lore of our community. He was famous because he was gifted tremendous amounts of ETH and Bitcoin to be able to buy his mother a house. And what did he do? He went and gambled it all away on shitcoins. And so that's a huge part of our lore. And he was put on trial for his maleficence. And I think that this was one of the core founding moments of Ticker Bitcoin. A few other of those, though, being recently we had on Halloween, we had someone sell off 2.4% of the entire circulating supply in 3 minutes. So that's about, the slippage cost them like $3.5 million alone. It did a negative 57% candle on the 5-minute candle. But the community, because they're so rabid for Ticker Bitcoin, they bid it all the way back up within, I think it was 10 minutes or so. Yeah. So it was this crazy candle. So that's now a part of our lore. That's the, did you survive the Halloween flash crash? So there's always new things that come up and get added to the egregore.
Your Twitter handle is Halloween, right?
So yeah, my Twitter handle is
why?
It's Halloween in 2008, and the reasoning for that is the BTC white paper, good old boomer Bitcoin. It was released on Halloween in 2008, October 31st, 2008. So my handle is in homage to that.
Yeah, that's sick. You guys have so many like crazy events that form the culture around it, and I wonder if you maybe consider in the future, maybe when it's the coin birthday or the Sproto's birthday, consider having a video that goes over all the events, like a smash video with everything that happened and explaining everything for the people.
That's a great idea, because our video about quitting your job because Harry Potter Obama Sonic Kenny Moon has always been one of the most popular. And yeah, May 10th, that's our big day. I know that last year we did some pretty cool stuff to celebrate the 1-year anniversary. And I think that we'll probably have some other cool stuff for the 2-year coming up. And that's a good idea that we could add in.
It's funny. I think at this point, a video, unless it's like 8 hours long, just like wouldn't fully do it justice. I think we just have to make like a wiki at this point and just have someone go through, just a historian go through and try to describe all the layer.
Yeah, I think we can make a documentary and just post it on Netflix.
Yeah, a TV series narrated by Morgan Freeman.
There you go.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I like that, and I think Brett is right that we would pretty much need a wiki, because there's so much lore. Like his name was Morvin, for example. We once had this guy whose name was Morvin just wander into the chat and start harassing everybody about things and whatnot. And I'll never forget why. But somehow, for some reason, I think you know what? I'm not going to tell the story because I'm going to mess it up. But Morvin basically accused me of being gay. But his reasoning for it though, you would think it would actually prove that he was gay and not me. I think it was him calling me cute. I forget what it was, and I feel bad that I'm flubbing the story. But it became such an incredible moment in the chat, and people were spamming his name was Morvin so much to the point that sadly Morvin left us. But yes, just little instances like that, they add up into the meme lore.
So before going a bit into Berachain and layer 2 that you guys are going to build, I want to ask one more question about the cycle. If you were to guess where we are in the cycle right now, and what signs are you personally looking for as a top signal potentially? Because in the past we had the rotation from Bitcoin, Ethereum, big caps, small caps. Now it seems to be Bitcoin, Solana directly to meme coins, and a lot of like signals that people used to have are not accurate anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the last part of this cycle. I think that it'll end in the next, you could say, few months, maybe a year or so. I think that you'll see it end sometime between March of 2025 and November. As far as top signals go, I would say all the same as usual. You don't see retail in to the extent that they've gotten into crypto in the past. So when you kind of have your mother's friends asking you for crypto advice, that's always a pretty good top signal. Just on the charts, I think BTC still has some room to go, probably getting up to around the 120 area. It could be now. Looking at some of the charts, you could see a lot of top signals, but I don't know. I know funds that have $850 million or VCs that have $850 million funds that they haven't spent even a tenth of yet. I know the position of trading desks from my time in that world, and I just know the 4-year cycle, right? It hasn't changed. Why would it change now? But so I would guess probably March of 2025 is when you see things get to the overheated point and begin their retrace. Maybe November at the latest, and then you start seeing the big drops in 26, especially because rates will probably end up actually getting raised with the macroeconomic stabilization that I expect us to see happening, and that'll probably prompt a lot of the sell-off.
Yeah, I fully agree. I also think Q1, maybe Q2, mid Q2, late Q2 will be the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I see people saying we're so early, which tells me that it's towards the end of the cycle.
Because in the beginning,
drivers... please, Cass.
In the beginning, no one was saying that we're early. No one felt the bull market, even if it started, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the bull market started in January 2023. It wasn't until probably June or July of that year that people even were willing to entertain that a bull market was going on. I didn't really hear anybody calling it a bull market until nearly a year after it started, and that's usually how it goes, right? And that's okay. People might be sort of slow to that, but the only question that you ever should ask yourself when trading is how long will the current momentum continue? That's it. My experience on a trading floor is that the traders there, the most complex technical analysis they're doing is usually just horizontal price action. And if you look at the horizontal price action and you look at history and you look at where the macroeconomy is going, I think it's pretty easy to approximate this coming to an end around then. So, but hey, let's hope it goes on forever.
Yeah, but actually the meme bull run started in I don't know, May 2023 or something.
Yeah, I think when Pepe started running, right?
Yeah, Pepe, exactly. Pepe was the start of the meme bull run, right? I mean,
totally. No, I agree.
It has to end.
And I remember people comparing the Pepe start of the bull with SHIB last cycle.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's some fairness to that. I think that, SHIB had that kind of in between DeFi summer, in between the 2021 explosion. I'll say this to kind of give maybe, I know that some people might get a little discouraged hearing such, you might say, early projections of the cycle ending, right? If you're getting in now, it's kind of sucks to hear it's a few months. I think that while it probably is entering its final phase, the final phase does tend to be pretty
most
intense.
Violent.
Yeah, it's similar to a bunch of them put together. And a good way to put this would be, I recall last cycle, 2020 was finishing and we were going to 2021, and I saw a mainstream news article that was talking about how 2021 was going to be the year of the altcoin. And to me, that was just the biggest top signal. I was like, okay, first of all, it's the mainstream news talking about it. Secondly, I was just around in crypto in 2020. Everything is up like 70,000%. How is it going to go up even more? And then sure enough, 2021 was the year of the altcoin, right? And we saw prices just totally turbo move. So I think you probably see.
No year for altcoins this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this year it's the meme coin. Yeah, it's the meme coin, not the altcoin. So, and hey, we're really happy to be a part of that. I think the best thing that Ticker Bitcoin has done, well, maybe not the best thing, but one of the many good things, is to inverse that model of high FDV, low float that everybody was doing. It's embarrassing to me how many crypto places thought that they could get away with this, and I think it's hilarious that they still try to do it. That they
it's
try
still
to say,
happening though.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, oh, here's 15% of our circulating supply at $1.2 billion valuation. Like, go ahead and buy it. It's just, it's absurd. So I'm really glad that the meme coin world has come along and has flipped that on its head. And now you get the entire float all at once. So there's no more emissions. There's no one selling on you. And then the FTV is low. So you can get in and make it to the moon.
Do you think Murad's super cycle tour in the world, like going to Token 24 Singapore on the main stage and saying that we are a meme in a meme super cycle, is this like a top signal for you?
I wouldn't say it's a top signal, but I would say that it does signal us heading to the top. Murad's a really good guy. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of the project. We got to hang out with him. Actually, you mentioned Singapore. We had a great time hanging out with him in Singapore. His talk was great. I think that it shows the top is approaching because he's giving this talk to crypto people. He's not giving this talk to normies. It's when you see normies creating their own BTC investing clubs and stuff like that.
TikTok
That's
and
the
stuff.
top. Yeah, exactly. That's more the top. I mean, again, top signals. It's people act as if top signals only start flashing at the very top. It's more like you could think of it as a series of lights that all light up. And it's when all of them are lit, that's when you're at the very top. An example of this would be that I have some friends who are young men around my age, so mid to late 20s, and they had never been interested in crypto before. And I would say roughly maybe 8 months to just under a year ago, they reached out to me and asked if I could help them get into crypto. And I had them buy ticker Bitcoin, right, all this stuff. They did well, that, they had a good time. But that is like one of the first top signal lights flashing, right, when you have new entrants such as that. But it's not a top signal that it's all over, because those are the first of the normies to get into it. It's the last of the normies. It's the last of the big companies. If you recall last cycle, it's Mark Zuckerberg's sister making a rap video about crypto. It's really hot girls getting into BTC all on their own too. Like it's these clubs of hot girls. It's like, what? That's the kind of stuff that is the true top, I think.
Let's get into the Ooga Booga universe a little. How did you find your way into the Berachain ecosystem, and what was it that made you say, this is it, I want to work with these guys, I want to do beautiful stuff with the bears?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So we had decided that we wanted to build an L2 because at the end of the day, meme coins are about expressing yourself, right? And we want to give people the ability to express themselves. And an L2 is a way that we can enhance that expression through a meme coin. Initially, we were thinking of just doing an ETH L2, kind of like everybody else, right? And there quickly became two apparent problems with that. One, it was probably going to just be a vaporware product. I mean, let's be honest, L2s are just trash. I think that most L2s are totally toxic. They're complete waste of space. They're down only. There's just so many reasons that people are sick of L2s. I think that it's something where crypto very much overpromised and underdelivered when it came to L2s, right? So there was that element of it, is that if we're just doing some blank L2, what's even the reason? And then secondarily, I say this as someone who I will always love Ethereum. Ticker Bitcoin's built on Ethereum. We're Bitcoin on ETH. I personally hold a lot of net worth in ETH. ETH is just not reading the room. The chain is not reading the room. I've been in the crypto space a long time, and I know ETH as well as other chains. I've helped out Solana meme coin projects by getting them connected to the Solana Foundation and their folks, and the difference in support is night and day. I mean, ETH, they're not even going to talk to you, right? They're not about supporting the projects in their ecosystem. Why? I think, to tell you the truth, I think it sort of makes some rational sense for them. I don't totally decry it. ETH is an asset that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The foundation has been around forever. They're very well capitalized. ETH itself is really well built out and frankly is probably not going to lose the core of its users. There's not going to be a world where everybody abandons ETH, right? So for them as rational actors, it doesn't make sense to go do things that might incur regulatory risk. Which, let's be real, if you get involved with projects, that's what you're incurring, right? There's many different governments out there, and luckily the landscape is shifting. but in the past, this hasn't been kindly looked upon. So the question becomes, how do you go to a place where they are reading the room, where they're going to support you? Obviously not support you in ways that are illegal, but actually, give you some kind of support in terms of your idea, your community. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. The whole point of this, if you want it to be a success, is that you have to make something beautiful and then give other people a chance to go and create with that beauty. And Berachain, unlike ETH, totally reads the room. They understand what's going on. They understand what degens want. They get that degens are looking for the asymmetric upside in meme coins. They're looking for the passive income in DeFi. And we want to create the intersection of memes and DeFi to bring them both. And so I just really can't speak highly enough to the Berachain team. They've been excellent partners, excellent friends. We're really happy to be building there. What we're building is now way more robust and way cooler than if we had just built on ETH. I'm proud to say that virtually the entirety of the Berachain ecosystem, all the coolest blue chip projects, as well as really esoteric kind of out there things, they're all building on BlockChain, which is the name of our L2, by the way. The folks that brought you Bitcoin on Ethereum, we're now going to bring you BlockChain on Berachain. So it's really shaping up to be a lot of fun. And the thing that I would capitalize or try to emphasize above all else is that we're not making this to change crypto. We're not trying to sell you on something that's fake. I think most L2s, and I'm not going to name any names, but they've really overpromised and underdelivered in that they act as if it's some game changer. It's going to be where you are going to see crypto shift, or where everybody, especially their darling VCs, are going to make a ton of money. No, that's not the plan here. The plan here is we're creating something really fun. It's going to have cool utility for meme coins. You're just going to enjoy it. It'll be schizo. It'll be out there. And it's not going to be some kind of corporate white collar type deal where your money is being extracted by the larger players in crypto. Rather, we're putting our blood, sweat, and tears into it. So that way you can just go have the degen fun that you want to do in crypto.
Can you walk us a little through how everything works? I mean, I heard in the Honeycast podcast about proof of crack and everything. I knew that everything is kind of in the beginning right now, and I don't know.
No, I understand what you're saying. And I appreciate the acknowledgement of the fluidity of it, right? Because that's the thing. You want to I think that you want to build the plane while you fly in crypto. You do want to have some semblance of an aircraft before you take off, but maybe like a few edits after while you're in flight. But the way it works is going to be just kind of to the point that I made about the intersection of asymmetric upside and passive income. So we're going to have all the elements that provide the former. So whether it be creating your own meme coin, playing gambling type games, obviously casino stuff has always been pretty big into meme coins, or the latter, such as staking, dual staking with the branded LST we'll have, things such as proof of crack, which we went over, like you mentioned, on the Honey Jar podcast, where the idea there being that you can get a share of either the fees or the bribes out the gauge on the chain through staking. There's just lots of little cool different nooks and crannies that I think that we can fill out. I haven't talked to our partners about announcing this yet, so I don't want to front run them, but we have some of the more cooler, robust projects on Berachain building out a blockchain equivalent of the things that you're used to seeing on Bera, such as burps or bend. And I think that that's going to add the kind of DeFi layer to it that folks want. It harkens back to what we said earlier about how meme coins are all about expressing yourself, and having this L2 will give people a really cool way to express themselves in a variety of different means.
At this point in time, do you know when the testnet is gonna go live and what we can expect with the ticker Bitcoin in the coming months? Is gonna be used like a gas fee for the app for blockchain, or how everything is gonna work?
And even Sprotos, will like the collection have some special perks or some advantages, something special for the holders when the mainnet comes?
Yeah, no, those are two very good questions. So as far as timeline goes, we actually do have our testnet up and running and settling to Bera testnet. We have it, you could say, private right now to the builders. It's just folks who are building on testnet that have access to it. to that end, if anyone is listening to this and wants to build on the blockchain testnet, please just contact me. Halloween in 2008 is the Twitter. I can get my Telegram out to really anyone who knows me. Happy to have you come build. As far as the testnet going public for users, I think we're pretty close. We have a really cool DEX that's being built by Kodiak on it. It's pretty much just in the design finishing touches, so to speak, just like nailing the UX to make sure that's all set. But the nuts and bolts are all there, so I feel like we're decently close. And then of course we want to utilize things like Bitcoin and Sprotos to the second half of your question. Bitcoin will be the gas token for the chain 100%. And in fact, we're exploring if we want to make it have even further utility too, which I think probably is going to be the direction we go. So hopefully there will be other cool elements for that. It's already going to be stakeable. And then Sprotos, I appreciate that question a lot. I originally had a really crazy idea where I wanted to make Sprotos the nodes for the validators on the chain. And unfortunately, we can't really do that because of the distribution of them. It would have been cool and just to kind of have that facsimile, I guess.
Yeah, and when you are talking about everything right now, in my head, it was like us as validators on Berachain. Can we contribute in some way since it's an L2 or something?
Yes. Yeah. So sorry, I should to answer that question. There's a few things that we're working on for that reasoning, and we've worked with some of the largest validators on Berachain about. I mean, obviously Infrared and the rest, they're pals. So yeah, I kind of want to find a way to open that up to the public writ large. So definitely taking a look to what that will be in terms of people having and even I can't say who, but there's a pretty large partner that reached out about some interesting securitization of the chain that I think we could allow people to have some cool shared fees from as well. And then to answer Kasa's question, just to make sure I got to it, Sprotos, they won't necessarily be the nodes for the chain. We definitely will make them stakeable and have some other cool features to that. So that will be one feature for Sprotos for sure.
Actually, NFT like node was a great idea, but yeah, makes sense since the distribution is
right.
Weird. Yeah.
Right. I know. I wanted it so badly.
I mean, something you guys can brainstorm and try is having like a second collection that will go live once the Bera mainnet, like how the Berachain NFTs worked with the rebase collection, and have that collection work as a node, and for the holders of the Sprotos to receive a lot of free mints or something like that, or better rewards, better earning. But for sure, that's a fantastic idea. Yeah,
I like that idea. No, I like that idea a lot. Like, there's so many cool creative things. I can't spoil it, but we do have a pretty cool. There's another major Berachain partner that we came up with a cool NFT idea with. So we're gonna be doing that with them upon launch.
You're not sleeping at all, man.
No, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to leave anybody out. So to any Berachain projects that hear this, and I don't say your name, I'm sorry. It's just because I'm not reading these off a list. But just to kind of run through some, just to give folks an idea: Gummy, Kodiak, Smiley, Arbera, Puffpaw, I'm dead. Steady Teddies, of course, Infrared. Ramen Finance. Oh, I feel so bad that I started doing this because I know there's at least like 25 different people. Basically, Bera Poker. Really, I should just go look through all my group chats to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Meme Swap. Who else? Just really, basically, all of the coolest kids. And if I didn't list you, or if you haven't talked to us, it's not because you're not a cool kid. It's just because we haven't talked. Like, please come talk to me. We want everybody building and doing cool. Oh, Kingdomly. I shouldn't forget to mention Kingdomly. I don't know, Red, is there someone that I'm missing that you can think of that? And again, no offense to anyone that we forget.
Yeah, it's hard. I can't tell right offhand, but I do want to make a quick point because I do got to run in a second here. But I think what Graham has kind of illuminated here is how friendly the Bera community is, how much the Bera projects work together. ticker Bitcoin came in kind of so more or less as outsiders, and we've really been embraced, and we've been able to talk to all sorts of different projects. Like, it's funny, when I originally posted about Berachain, of all people, it was Steady Teddies who kind of replied to me, and they had like 100 followers at the time. Which, if you don't know Steady Teddies, go look them up, because their growth has been exponential. But they took the time to reply to me. They made a quick honorary for me, and it's those sort of things where Berachain just kind of, it's just a different ecosystem. I think everyone's really friendly. Everyone wants to work together. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing on our side when Graham does have maybe an issue listing all of our partners, because there are so many. We've talked to so many people.
No, I think Red is so right. It's the friendliest people. There's so many. Like, for example, Yeet. Yeet has been maybe the biggest one since the beginning, and I left them out somehow. Like I couldn't even, and Honey Jar too, right? And what they're doing with Henlo, right? So there's all kinds of like Pemby over at Yeet and his squad. I mean, the art that they've made for us is just unbelievable. I think they actually are the best example of Red's point of just the friendliness, the embrace. They've helped us with not only with not only just getting integrated to Bera, but also how we want to think about blockchain and how we want to design it. So, and the fact that I didn't even remember them in the first listing goes to show you just how many kind and incredible projects there are in the Berachain ecosystem.
But you are preparing something with it, right?
Preparing something with ETH?
Yeah, like doing something together with them.
I wish that we were collaborating with the Ethereum Foundation, but no, we're
with ETH. Why EET?
Oh, Yeet. Sorry. I was mishearing you.
With Pemby.
Dude, with Pemby, I got to tell you, we're doing the world with Pemby. Pemby is about to, Yeet times blockchain is about to take over the world. Pemby is the man. Like, that's the thing. I can't believe that I forgot Yeet when I was listening to all the first, because they're so aligned. They've done so much cool stuff with us. I can't tell you what we're doing, but one of maybe the coolest thing that we have planned for blockchain is something we're doing with Yeet. So that's the alpha I can give there.
It's funny that you understood the Ethereum, because our intern, we had an interview with Lord Pemby, and we gave him the subtitle to correct it. And in the subtitle, he heard it, but because he wasn't better appealed, he did it like YEET. He put Ethereum, ETH. He didn't understand for him.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, no, I was here to say, which it's funny. I was this is like such a random story, but I was I had to be freaking hospitalized in Brussels during ETHCC. I had an appendicitis. I had to have my appendix removed. So I missed a lot of that conference, and I was in the hospital, and I'm American, so they're sending in some European person to explain that I'm not a part of the universal healthcare, and guess what, buddy, you're going to need to give us our euros, right? And the woman that they sent in, she was Romanian, and this is Brussels, obviously, right? And I'm lucky in that I do speak a bit of French from just like growing up, and I'm half Canadian, all this kind of stuff. And so I'm able to kind of, fend for myself a bit in talking to her. And I said to her, I was like, why are you here? And she explained to me that a lot of people in Romania speak French. And so they go to French speaking EU countries. So I don't know, is that true, or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, we learned a little bit of French in school and high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if that's like a Ceausescu thing or what that comes from, but.
No, not really. I mean,
right?
Our grandparents spoke Russian, so.
Right? Like, because it doesn't seem like you would want French in the country. So I've always been confused by it.
Every Romanian speaks English because all our movies have Romanian subtitles. So that's a fact. We don't have dubbed. Nobody watches dubbed films here. They started doing on cartoons recently, like 10, 20 years. But when I was a kid, I learned English from watching cartoons because everything was in English. No subtitles at the cartoons.
No subtitles.
But then all the movies were with English with subtitles. Still like it, like
that's
that,
so
like
cool.
that now. Exactly. So if you go to Italy, you hear Al Pacino's voice in Italian. Some Italian do this with Al Pacino wannabe voice, right?
Love that. I love that. That's so funny too. It's like the spaghetti westerns we have here. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm sorry if that's not really, if you're gonna end up if you end up cutting that from the podcast, I won't be offended. But I just I figured I'd ask because that was something that stood out to me in Brussels.
Yeah, and fun fact, the Sproto have the Romanian's flag colors.
Yes, no, we that's something that we know and love. In fact, we have a bunch of Sprotos that are done up like in flag styles, and we have a Romanian one where it's like literally the Romanian flag over the Sproto image. It's really cool.
Nice one, guys.
I want to ask before wrapping up with the Berachain side of the interview, do you think like the foundation interest in the protocol and their active presence in building and helping each protocol and the memetic lore and all the culture that's been built and formed the Berachain as it is today, is it enough to overcome the VC back problem that we've seen in the last year so far? Like all the VC back infra coins launched this year had crazy valuations, and once they were on the open market, they were down only. We can see that with Agent Layer, with Scroll, with all of the other layer ones and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment on necessarily how the price action on Bera is going to go. I think that it's probably not going to be that, just based on the way that Bera is being rolled out versus those tokens. Those tokens are kind of doomed to a down only because there's so many people that are basically waiting to sell them. But what I can say is that the Berachain team is doing an expert job of bringing on Lindy memes and their communities to the chain and putting them in a position to build and to succeed, and having that organic, totally VC free, you could say, element to the chain. I know that blockchain is going to be a great success because of not only the work that we're doing, but the work that they're doing and the great support of both of our communities. And I think that success will be one of many examples of the type of organic and self-bootstrap funded success that you'll see throughout the Berachain ecosystem.
Right now we are approaching to the last chapter of the podcast, and we want to wrap things up with some rapid fire questions to get a sense of where your head's at when it comes to crypto. But
Sure.
For this one, just quick top of mind answers.
Yeah, I can do that.
Please, you can start.
So yeah, it's a tradition here to end up with this rapid fire section.
I like that.
The first question is, what's the most underrated and overrated idea in crypto right now?
Most underrated idea in crypto, I would have to say, would be, that's really tough. I hate to say it, but the market's in a place where there's no more underrated ideas. Everything's kind of getting overrated at this point. Yeah, I think probably underrated, I can't give you an answer. Overrated, I would say, is the decentralized science narrative. That one is not going to go. That one's not going to go very far. Yeah, that's already played itself out.
Yeah, just popped on my crypto Twitter.
It's been hot for a few days now.
You're going to be seeing that. Because of my career earlier, I often help projects get set up and get their legs going, and I won't name who, but the most major of those projects, I help them get going, and I think that they are probably going to be the only success story of that field.
What's got you most excited about crypto these days?
Probably what we're doing with blockchain. I just think that it's really cool. Like, Berachain is just such an amazing ecosystem with amazing people. Our community, and I almost said that we've cultivated, but really the community's cultivated itself, I think is just the most beautiful group of souls that you'll find. And so being able to merge those two worlds it's really special.
What problems do you think actually need solving in crypto right now?
I think that we need to solve for all of we need to solve for the inexperience of founders within crypto. I always have people pitching me things that are just clearly meant to take advantage of founders. I think one of the most common collaborative projects that comes my way is not collaborative at all. And it's where people will come to us and they'll say, we're making a video game. We want Sprotos to be a character in the video game. And in the normal world, the way that this would work is they would pay us a licensing fee for Sprotos. In crypto, they want us to pay them to put Sprotos in the game. And what they're doing,
It's the other way around.
yeah, exactly. Like they're literally like inversing it. Like crypto is like that. It's that kind of world. And I'm trying to explain to them, look, I know what you're doing. You don't care about this game or how many people play this game. You're gonna charge 20 projects, $10,000 each, get your $200,000, pay some random person $7,000 to make some kind of game, and then pocket the rest and leave. And that's just one example of a lot of things. A lot of products in crypto are really just meant to take advantage of all the money that certain people make and just get them to waste it.
What's some real talk you wish someone had told you when you first started in this space?
Something that I wish someone had told me when I first started?
Yes, the real talk.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would probably say that you're never going to make it through trading. Very, very people do. You'll make it through who you know and people liking you. I don't think that's because crypto is just corrupt and the rest of the world isn't. I think that's the case for most of the world.
What habits or routines help you stay disciplined in such a high stress, high stakes industry?
I was much more stressed when I worked in trading because just the environment was really, really vicious, really difficult. I lived in like a nice building, and every morning I would go to the gym and I would work out, and then I would go sit in the sauna, and I would just be stressed as hell, and it wasn't helping me at all. And it basically did nothing. I mean, yeah, so I'm religious, and I'm not going to push that on people, but certainly my connection with God helped. But really, at the end of the day, what helped me was taking my day-to-day out of the hands of others and putting it into my own hands. I think that it's for me, it was the stress of other people's expectations that often got me. I feel totally okay failing for myself, but failing for someone else is hard. But yeah, I mean, the most blunt answer I can give though is like, when your life changes for the better, you'll be less stressed. And that's what I've observed not only in myself and in others in crypto. And it's what I pray that everybody gets to experience.
Yeah, basically we are responsible for our own destiny, right?
Yeah, and you can have habits. I think there's a lot of habits you can have that will make you a calmer person. And I have friends that served in special forces and have been in just much more difficult situations than me. And I've asked them, how do you calm yourself down when you're surrounded by the Taliban or whatever? And they have methods for it, methods that I might not be able to do, but that do work. But I think a method that does work for most people writ large is their lives getting better. And that's just kind of the short truth of it, is just when things go your way, you'll be less stressed.
What's a crypto-related topic that you completely changed your mind in the past year or 2 years?
It's a really good question. I think I probably have changed my mind the most on. I mean, I'm trying to think of something positive because there's so many things that I've gone negative on. You know what I mean? I don't want to like be slamming somebody. I guess one thing that I've changed my mind on would be the ability for, I used to be, I think, very negative about people's ability to make it in this space. I felt like it was something where it was very, very planned. You kind of had to know all the right people, da-da-da-da-da. I've met so many people. I was just at an event last night, and this guy comes up to me, and he's telling me his story of how he got into crypto. And he basically saw Litecoin go from $8 to $12. He had $17,500 from selling his car, and he full poured it into Litecoin at $12. Apparently he doesn't even, this is the part of it that I used to not believe, but now I've come to believe, he doesn't even check for months. Which I'm like, what? How do you not? And he's in some bar someday and he hears guys talking about crypto. And he's like, oh, I'll go look at my Litecoin. And it's now trading at $240 spot or something like that. And that was just, how he made it. And I think that I used to always distrust those stories. But in the past year or two, I've come to realize that, yeah, it's more random than you'd think.
Yeah, some are just lucky, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I used to have my belief as a younger man, especially, was like, not that it's all earned, but that it takes like a certain time and that people just don't do things accidentally. But I think you start to realize that the world is much more a spontaneous order than it is a planned one.
Yeah, I think humans in general like to complicate stuff and overthink, but in the end, it just is, you know.
Yes, no, exactly. I think that's a good way to put it.
What keeps you going through the tough times?
That's a really good question because we really have had some. It's got to be our. It's no, it has. I mean, gosh, going from retracing from like 280 million to 35 million market cap. It's hard to hold people's hand through that. I think what keeps me going, apart from my belief in God and the love of my friends and family, is definitely our community. The people in the Ticker Bitcoin community are just second to none. They're just really incredible people. They, at the end of the day, they put so much trust, belief, and value in us that no matter how we're doing, it's up to me to show up for them. And that's not a reflection on anything about me. It's just a reflection of the quality of the people that they are.
Where do you see all the industry going? And for this one, wrong answers only.
I think that we're going to continue to go up for a very long time. I think that you'll see crypto totally decouple from equity and commodities markets, and we will stop having the boom bust nature that we normally do, and we'll start to just go up and to the right. And I think that you will see a token launched today that will go to trillions. So that would be my wrong answers of what's going to happen.
Thank you for that, Graham. Thank you for that, Red Cave. I know that you are not here anymore. You had some Sproto business to handle. Big thanks to you, Cas, as well. It's been a wild ride through the Memecoin trenches of Berachain and everything. Thank you, guys. And let's do an Ooga Booga for the audience. 3, 2, 1.
Ooga booga! Ooga booga, baby. Let's go. No, you're so welcome. This has been a wonderful time, and we really appreciate y'all having us.